You are watching Access to LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 23rd meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Board. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
The May 23rd, LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, roll call. We want to do the roll call for the first time.
John Carr,
Out here.
Marcella Kunster,
That's right, that's not
and, okay, Jerry Jackson,
here.
Mitch Bishop,
Here.
Delia, present. Mark Danielson,
Present.
Mandolina, here.
We got four. Moving on then, approval of minutes in the packet. The April 25th meeting minutes. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. Any questions on the motion? If not, I can vote. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Aye as well. Approved. Moving on, public comments. No, anybody on Zoom? Public comments?
Yeah, I don't see anybody except for John and Chris.
Okay, well, public comments closed. Report, Steve Carter, Trainers Finance.
Okay, for the month ending April 30th, we have financial statement with Hudson's Farming, total in the bank $3,184,876.73. Looks like there were 2 checks written last month, and we had $12,087 in interest income. And so we have a healthy balance there still. About $3 million in change, a little over $3 million, maybe $3,020,000 in the Hoover Fund, and the rest is that balance in bank. So following praying, we ended the month of April with $80,857.30. We did get during the month a reimbursement or bond proceeds from the SRF for those $40,000 for those service connection. What do we call that? Service connection grants or
Reimbursement.
yeah. So of that $80,000, $68,508 in the operating fund, $3,116 in the debt service reserve fund, and bond interest of $9,232. So we're slowly building up the balance in the debt service reserve, making those transfers each month. For the road, we ended the month at $370,410. Of note, I believe we are 2 months in a row now of not receiving toll road receipts. So that number, I believe, is low by about 30-some thousand.
Yeah, I have checking into that right now.
I'm sorry, could you say that again, Jennifer?
I'm checking into that right now. We'll be connecting them to find out. I asked my assistant to do it last week, and she wasn't there, so yesterday. So I'll get to see if I can just email her if I get an update before we leave. I'll let you know.
For the month, we had $1,536 in interest income. Of the balance, the majority is sitting in the Hoosier Fund, $334,124 in the Hoosier Fund, and then the RC checking account has $36,286. Any questions on financials? Claims, we had a couple of last minute changes. They're not really material. All those were, we did receive Indiana Michigan power bills late yesterday, or they were in the PO box yesterday, and Jennifer forwarded them. So on my copy, I made those changes just so I know what to write the checks up for. The total is now $59,483.20.
Entertain a motion for approval of the claims. So moved. Second. Any questions on it? No. Yes, I got four questions. Ashbury. I believe that online. Yeah, this was Chris Vogler with Ashbury. Yeah. Just everything's good at the toll road. No new issues. We did pull aerators this past week and cleaned them and got them back in. That was originally scheduled for last fall, but we couldn't get the equipment to get it done. So that was done this past week, and we've got good aeration in the digesters now. Other than that, I've got no other thing to report.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks. That brings me to Jennifer. Building collections liens.
Okay,
I see your attachment on that in the packet.
yeah, you have a report in your packet with the information from deposits and payments. Other than that, nothing new to report at this time. If you have any questions.
Any? I see a property owner reimbursements around there. Any additional ones that we received?
I did not get any this month, but I have a couple that I still have to send out. And then the letters, I think, well, I don't know if that's in here too, but I think I gave you guys each a copy of the Phase 1, Phase 2 letters from your motion last month to go out regarding the extension. There's approximately 24 in each phase, Phase 1 and Phase 2, that have not connected. I went through and updated it.
Could you remind me, when did we extend that?
We extended connection to July 1st,
Got it.
and then the reimbursement forms have to be to me by August 1st.
Thank you.
And you mailed those out this recently, didn't you? Or
What?
that's mailed out last
Last week?
week.
Yeah.
All right.
And Jennifer, 24 in each phase, not 24 total.
Yeah.
Correct.
Roughly.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Well, then with that, moving on then. Phase 2 update. That'd be Dan or Ken. I believe I saw Dan on there.
Yeah, I think they're both done.
We don't, hey guys, you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't really have too much on a phase 2 update here until the reimbursement period ends and we have that total number of reimbursements requested. Assuming that all 117 connections in phase 2 don't apply for reimbursement, we will still have some remaining funds left. And those can still be used by the district. I kind of figure we can discuss what we might want to do with it, but until we know what that final dollar amount is, there's not really much of a point. We'll have to put together another PER amendment when we decide what we want to do, but not much of an update till then.
Okay.
I'll go and move on to Hudson Saucony unless anybody's got anything else.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right. Hudson Saucony project proposed timeline, just to keep it in front of you. We're looking at design completing in August of this year, with middle approximately around the same time. We would be bidding out in October, with a projected closing best case date of February of 2024. You would like to take a look at the design, the project updates memo I put together for this month. We are continuing to work on assembling equipment pre-selection packages for the project. I believe that we are planning on presenting these for engineering committee approval at the next engineering committee meeting on May 31st, a week from tomorrow. On wastewater plant, we've finalized and established flows and loadings, working on finalizing those pre-selection packages as indicated above to be presented next week, and working on plan set and spec production for the wastewater plant. Collection system wise, we've completed hydraulic modeling of both lakes, conducting an internal review on the Hudson Lake system, and we have gotten preliminary plan and profile alignments underway. Those are all completed for Saucony Lake. They are continuing to be pulled for Hudson Lake. And currently we're having some internal staff conduct a peer review of these pipe alignments and pipe placement for constructability purposes. When that's complete, we'll be moving those plan and profile drawings into a more final state. We're also continuing to work on utility coordination, and just yesterday we held a kickoff with Terracon through Geotech Engineering. Just to give you guys a heads up, Terracon is going to be coming through over the next few weeks. They're going to be staking, I believe they started yesterday. They're going to be staking in the right-of-way the locations of soil borings. If any questions come in, these are not proposed grinder locations or anything like that. This is just soil borings for geotechnical reporting purposes, so we can understand what the soil and water table conditions are like in the area. Finally, just to give you an update on our customer database and easement list, we are 100% complete with Saucony. We have 272 out of the 272 deeds acquired, and we're about 57% done with Hudson. Overall, about 38% complete. You guys have any questions on progress on Hudson Saucony?
I do not.
No, I don't.
All right. Next item on here was the SRF regional planning meeting. I wanted to keep it on here just to follow up with Mitch to see what he took away from that regional planning meeting that was held. First of all, Mitch, which one did you attend?
Yeah, I attended the Napanee meeting, and
Okay.
it says 1 to 3. It was more like 1 to 2:15, and it was 2 or 3 different speakers. One was from the health department, oddly enough, and they were talking about lead, contamination in homes, and a lead program they have. That lasted about 20 minutes. And they, basically mostly kids in lead. So it wasn't really, that probably lasted 20 minutes to half an hour. And it just said, their program, how they were successful and what they've been doing. It was mostly a case study analysis. Then there was a presentation regarding NIPSCO and case study again, how they get NIPSCO out there to relocate because a lot of people, a lot of communities have problems with the utilities relocating and not marking utilities for relocation and hidden utilities, and just a lot of that. Wasn't anything I haven't heard before. It wasn't a lot I took away from it, I would say, but it was well attended. There must have been over 100 people there, I would say. Not only that, they had probably 3 or 4 senators, which I thought was interesting for an hour and 15 presentation, or maybe an hour and a half presentation. But yeah, for the first time attending one, I wasn't a big takeaway, but maybe I guess they're gonna have them once a year or quarterly. So I know they're gonna have a topic on. I guess they're actually asking individuals to bring other topics up and have. I don't know if it's gonna be a quarterly thing or an annual. In different locations throughout Indiana now starting. So, but it might be an interesting thing to look into in the future. So I guess we have to do it. Is that they didn't really talk about that, but is it mandatory? I guess that's my understanding that it's a mandatory.
I think at least this one was.
Yeah. Okay.
It's I know SRF requires attendance at.
Oh, you attended one too, didn't you, Jerry?
Yeah, my understanding is that if you're going to get involved in SRF loans, there's manual attendance.
Yeah. They didn't really discuss, and that was kind of interesting. They didn't really discuss. I don't know today in yours, Jerry. They didn't really discuss the SRF programs or anything like that.
No, the last one I attended was about coordination with water in between water systems and emergencies.
Yeah. Yeah. So nothing really eye opening. I guess the lead conversation was interesting, but other than that.
Thanks for going. Nice drive, didn't
Oh yeah, Amish country is always interesting. I stopped for some apple butter. Yeah. Moving on.
All right. Yeah, the only other item I have on here is draft easement agreements and easement letters. I know Steve Henson has been working on those and reviewing them. I believe we're going to be presenting them for review at the engineering committee meeting.
Actually, we forwarded that information over to Barry already last week, so Barry's reviewing it, and then we'll get them out.
Yep. So I'll be able to get something probably next week. Just any comments or edits I have out.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry.
Sure.
Thanks.
And that's all I've got here. Ken, did you need to chime in on anything?
Well, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I would report that Marcella and John and I and Jennifer, with a few property owners, attended the county council work session last evening, where we presented a request for partnership from LaPorte County. We were specifically wanting to formally ask them to help us buy down the cost of the project. We had made a request for $1.5 million from their ARPA allocation, and which is a reasonable and fairly modest request from our standpoint, given the cost of the project, which is hovering right at $43 million right now. It was, I guess, it was a lukewarm response, I think. Not to say that we won't get it done, but they were holding their opinions pretty close to the vest, other than a few. We had a few people that spoke that were clearly not necessarily in favor of it, and I think there's a little bit of lack of understanding relative to the previous grant to the district for Rolling Prairie, and like the one gentleman, and I don't know the names of the individuals, I'm sorry, but the one gentleman was concerned that there was a $2 million grant from the county. And I think he might have misunderstood that there was no payment being made. I think we did our best to correct that, because we are in fact collecting funds from Rolling Prairie customers and sending those monthly payments back to the county. So maybe he feels a little bit better about it, but it kind of almost got the idea that he wanted the entire $2 million back. but which there's no way that we can do, obviously. So asking for 1.5 million from ARPA is a reasonable request. One of the things that we did explain to them was that it is very common for other counties in support of their regional sewage districts to issue funds from that very same allocation. For instance, little old LaGrange County, whose allocation from ARPA was significantly lower than LaPorte, did offer up 1.5 million to a specific project in the Twin Lakes service area in LaPorte County. And the council there in LaGrange County completely understood the concept of what we were doing, asking for local participation from a fund that was clearly distributed to the county governments to assist with infrastructure projects and other things. Clean water, wastewater, those types of things are solidly in the categorical uses of those funds. And in the case of almost every county that we've been dealing with over the last few years, where the county commissioners and county council have allocated ARPA funds, it was done so in an attempt to leverage additional assistance from the federal and state government. And so, but I'm not sure that point was completely understood last night. The discussion is not over. One of the things that we had some dialogue after the meeting between the work session and the actual council meeting with a few folks relative to what we possibly need to come back with. And we could have shared what we currently know about the preliminary rates without including those, the capital buy downs that we're vigorously pursuing. But we didn't think that was appropriate for that meeting, but we are going to assemble that information and either distribute it to every council member and county commissioner separately, or we'll go back at their next work session and have the dialogue again. I think, and Marcella, you can chime in if you want. I think we definitely got our point across. We were able to make a very good case for their participation and the need for that participation. And I believe we definitely put our point across. And I think there are some members of the council that will end up supporting it. And remember, we only need to have a majority to vote in favor for that appropriation. So we do need the commissioners to request the appropriation at some point.
I think it was a great presentation. I think the point of just kind of educating them on the project and letting them know where we stand in the dollar amounts and the increases. I mean, I think it was an excellent presentation, and we will go back. We'll go back again, and we'll take some more information that Senator thought would be helpful, and we'll take it back to council, and we'll try.
And
was there discussion about making sure people can buy and sell their homes and the economic viability of property around the lake?
We didn't speak to that topic exactly. We definitely helped them understand that the sustainability and viability of the housing stock in these communities is at stake here. And there's no question that they understood that. How seriously they took it is probably an individual question for each council member. I think when we go back though, Jerry, I think it is very important to hammer on that topic. So and but we're not done with that question. I think what they asked us to do, and we'll work with Steve Carter on this. They asked us to go back and give them the actual numbers. Okay, what impact, positive impact to rates would this $1.5 million have? And I think we can make that strong argument because, I can tell you for a fact that at least two of the other resources will be looking hard as to whether LaPorte County contributed ARPA funds to the project relative to their desire to leverage additional funds. And specifically SRF, they actually asked that during the process. We've been encouraged so far to make an application to READY 2.0. I've had some dialogue with the economic development folks in LaPorte County, and they're keeping me up to date as to when the grant program will open up for READY 2.0. I think we can make a strong case that this project is a viable contender. I don't think we're talking about a windfall of funds from READY, but we would certainly use any funds that we would get. And of course, as you know, those of you that have worked with the READY program, there is a local match required. And of course, the property owners at Hudson-Saguenay Lake, they're providing a significant amount of match through the regional sewage district by long-term low-interest loans and potentially grant funds from SRF. But also, READY is going to find it very interesting and will probably help in scoring if they see that the county of LaPorte is also contributing. And so we're going at this aggressively. We're going to hit every possible option, and right now we are targeting a rate at just under $100 at $90 bucks. That is our goal. Whether we reach that or not, that's the question. But we're going to need every last bit of buy-in from every funding option that we can generate to make it there. So, and we're a long ways from getting there at this point, but I feel like we ultimately will get there. We had some really good dialogue with both the USDA and the State Revolving Loan Fund. We had all of the most important players on that last telecommunication meeting, and we came away from that meeting feeling pretty good that they understood exactly where we were and what assistance we're going to need. And they're, I'm sure, having some dialogue between themselves as to how they're going to get us there. A couple things that the board might need to consider going forward. We did look at, we met with the engineering group and the engineering committee and looked at breaking the project down into phases. That was one tactic. We talked about changing up the project relative to how many grinder pumps we're going to install, how many doubles, we would say how many combined users to grinder pumps, and we've had some impact on the project, about $1.9 million in just making those design adjustments, and so we're aggressively attacking every front at this point in time to try to get the project to fit into that $90 a month rate. It could be that both agencies come back and say, can you delay again so we can help you at a higher level? Hopefully that doesn't happen. And we can continue to move the project forward at the pace that it is. So, but we should be prepared for that if they ask, especially if that comes with a higher degree of subsidization. So,
Yeah.
So that's my update. I think the meeting last night went well, and I think it's probably going to be one of those things where I don't know. And Marcella and John might have some opinions. I know John's not there today, but we might decide to have some one-on-one meetings, especially with a couple of the council members that were concerned about the district's ability to pay back $2 million in Laurel and Prairie. And they did not understand, by the way, that the district is a compelling connection for both phases of Rolling Prairie right now. They didn't know that. They thought we were still, kind of saying, well, hook up if you want, and those days are over with. And they were surprised to know that.
Yeah.
So
it was a good meeting. I think it was important, and we had to have that. It's,
Yeah.
we had to have that meeting. So it was a great start phase. But yeah, we'll do some one-on-one meetings and
yeah,
if we can.
I think that would be great. So
Thanks, Ken.
any questions about that from from the trustees?
The only thing that I'm sitting, here listening to this, I think it's really important with what you said, Marcia, and basically John and yourself, keep them in the loop so they understand what we're doing and, give them agendas, do whatever it takes. More and more that we can communicate what we're doing and how we're doing it, maybe they will understand it.
Yeah. And, the fact of the matter is that, the cost of these projects have outpaced expectations in the last, 18 months to 24 months. And they've also outpaced the funding resources. And the funding resources are scratching, trying to figure out how they're going to make up that gap. And right now we're not sure how they can. But in the past, it's taken a few years for them to be able to catch up, which means additional allocations from their resources from federal government and from US EPA to try to backstop projects that are going to have a higher level of debt and also then need a higher level of subsidization. So we're going through what I consider to be an evolution right now that we're seeing some hard realities, I think. And, but anyway, and here's another thing that you probably didn't realize as a group. Back in 2013, when we were working with the property owners out in the community, at that time, the median household income at Hudson Lake was significantly lower than it is right now. And that's Hudson Township. That is the census tract that we are allowed to use. And at Galena Township, it was a little bit higher. But using both of their income demographics back in 2013, we were eligible for what USDA calls their median interest rate, or even at that time, grant. But since that time, the income demographics have changed. Both of those townships are now over $70,000 a year, which puts them into the full-on market rate interest from USDA. So that's a big change.
That was
the last 10 years. So
after the council meeting, two of the council members spoke to me, and that was one of the issues that they brought up with funding the project. Was that very issue? They felt it could be a priority to put it in lower income areas in the community.
Yeah,
ARP funds. Yeah, that was definitely a thing that I heard. I spoke to 3 or 4 members after the council meeting, probably like 8:30. That was one thing I heard. The other thing was, can we phase it into Saugony and Hudson to possibly lower the cost? And the other thing I heard was, is there any commercial development out there for economic development other than just residential? And my response was, well, those are postage stamp lots, and if a septic fails, most of the time you don't have the land to swap out a septic. That, this gives them the opportunity, the homeowner, to actually put a dish on his house, and that will increase the property taxes, and then ergo the county will have more property taxes and increase our tax rate and as a whole in our assessed valuation. So as a county, we'll receive more taxes, more money.
Hard to start a restaurant out there
right.
without a sewer system.
Exactly. So I went into all that with them, and they did see the point of doing this, but then they went back to, well, it's not an impoverished area though.
Is that a requirement for those funds? Is that something in the ARPA?
It's not. But it's the.
I mean, I get it.
Maybe a priority. And there's other areas where, lower income areas in the community.
Well, I think what you'd find, neither one of our funding resource entities will allow us to do income studies. They base 100% of their evaluation on what the what data that you can get from the U.S. Census. And so that is the only place that, so when we're looking at that kind of information, we're looking at the same thing they're looking at. What I don't think is being portrayed by the census data is the fact that the median household income for those communities has been driven up by those residents that can afford to live lakefront, and the folks that are in the adjoining neighborhoods you'll find are probably significantly in a different category of income.
Oh yeah.
And but we aren't allowed to use that. We, Mitch, that Okra will still allow you to do income study, but neither one of these resources pay attention to that.
Right. A lot of those are second home, like
right.
Second home individuals that are third home individuals, and so.
I tell you, what I will do is I will send Jennifer will send you the PowerPoint, the slides that we used with the council yesterday, and it's got some really good information in there. And there were things that I think that they didn't know about the area. That, like for instance, we went back and reevaluated the options for the current residents. We found that at Hudson Lake, just under 70% of the properties are at or below the limit for a home site that can treat their waste with a septic system. So that in LaPorte County, that's 24,000 square feet, so basically a half acre. The problem with that is most of those, probably at a minimum, 30% of those are less than 10,000 square feet. So, so somewhere between that 24 and 30 and 10,000 square feet, we have people that have already built their septic system, their replacement system, and of course they have an on-site water well. So if they've done all that, they have no solution, none.
Right.
And of course, the houses that are located on lots less than 10,000 square feet, that solution was gone a long time ago.
Right.
Mitch, I have a question.
That is pretty stark information, and it basically tells this board that if we don't move this project going forward, we could continue to have a sustainability issue or worse in the housing stock.
Yeah, they're pretty stuck. In other words.
Yeah.
Mitch, I have a question.
There's been some recent maneuverings at the legislature to change the design criteria for septic systems, but still, if you look at it carefully, even though they're thinking that they're going to water down what Amanda can do locally, they're almost saying, well, Amanda, your standards can't be higher than the state standard, but the fact is they aren't now. They're lockstep with the state standard, so it really, they continue to find things that kind of go against the mission, but overall, we still have the same problem. There's not a thing we can do about it other than to build a system that gives the property owners a choice. So I'm preaching to the choir, sorry.
Is there still an effort downstate to get rid of local ordinances for septic systems?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that goes into effect July 1st of this year. All of our septic ordinances are wiped off the books.
Does that cover the sale?
Yes.
It does.
Oh, transfer stuff? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they wrote into that July 1st everything's gone. October 1st, we can appeal to the technical review panel downstate to review our ordinances to see if they agree that they can be reinstated or not.
It's kind of remarkable. If I'm buying in a subdivision, I would sure rather have my neighbor's septic system working. I'm surprised. Yeah.
Most people would.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on the well water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Amanda, as of July 1st, unless it's reinstated, the current ordinance that requires proof of functional septic and water is gone.
Correct. So we can still enforce the water part, the drinking water part of it, but we cannot enforce the septic part.
Which, looking at real estate transactions, the water is never as big an issue, obviously.
No.
The septic is,
Always an
the
issue.
septic was the real motivating factor.
Yeah, we were looking at that the other day. Like last year, we processed probably about 870 properties a year that are on well and septic for property transfers. And we had 3 drinking water wells that were an issue. We had over 200 septic systems that were an issue.
I was one of them. I just sold my house.
Oh,
Spent
sorry.
$5,000. No, it's appropriate. Entirely appropriate.
Yeah.
So obviously there is a statewide pushback on some type of philosophical don't tread on me basis, I guess. But did you notice at the local meeting, the workshop, Ken or anybody else, I mean, I'm a little encouraged almost because at least the discussions from the council were based on money. Did you get any philosophical pushback the way this board did years ago in Hudson and Saucony about just fundamentally they don't want this system, what they have is fine, we don't want any more government? Did you get any of that? Because if you don't have that, to me, you can it's easier to overcome math and science than it is kind of a philosophical debate that we just don't want it. That's tougher to win those arguments.
I don't.
Well, Barry was interesting that the one gentleman, and I'm sorry, I didn't remember all their names. The one gentleman that was kind of pushing back on the fact that Rolling Prairie hadn't paid back their $2 million, didn't know that we were compelling connection and that we intend to compel connection in every project we do. And I wasn't understanding. I don't know, Marcella, did he think that was a good or bad idea? I wasn't clear. He kind of started out, well, you won't make people connect, so how are we going to get our money back? And we said, well, wait a minute.
We are
compelling connection for phase 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so
there was definitely
I saw that as a good point.
A lot of miscommunication for sure.
That's why we have to continue that right down the road and
One-on-one.
Oh, we used to have a liaison from the council attend these meetings. I don't know.
We did.
Then they kind of just fizzled out. I know we had Connie when she was on council, and we had Rosenbaum.
It may be
He used to
Justin.
come. No, I spoke to Adam. Adam came up to me. This was actually this was probably last week, and he said he wanted to be the liaison.
Oh.
Karanka,
Okay.
the new councilman. So
that's fine. Just have somebody here.
Yeah. So I was gonna go ahead and I forgot to speak to him about that last night after the meeting, but I could reach out to him and tell him.
So I do have a question still for Mitch.
Yeah. Okay.
Dealing with the ARPA money, that 1.5 million, they say they maybe wanted to go to maybe a lower income area. Is there any projects in mind that they could go to, because they're going to lose the money if they don't, assign it?
When the county first received that money, maybe within the first 6 months or so, they asked department heads, and there was multiple meetings, and there might have been a committee created with department heads, and they had essentially a wish list of projects, and they created this list, and they came in front of council and the commissioners, and they presented. I'm not sure now, that was 2 years ago. I know some of the projects on that list, obviously. I know they helped with some sewer projects through the RDC. They helped with one of the ones I'm working on. They gave money for that. I believe, 1.5 sounds probably right. And then
balances?
There's still a significant amount of balance.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact balance, but I know they received the money in 2 pots. There were, I think we got 21 million, and that first pot of money's gone. So I imagine they spent 10 or 11, and then that second pot, I'm not sure what they spent on that second pot though. So I assume there's another 10 million. I don't know what they spent on it.
Who would we reach out to find out what the balance?
You imagine the president, yeah, our work as well, yeah. Rosenbaum, or
Okay.
yeah.
Well, no one on the council said there wasn't any money left.
No.
No, I believe there is money left. I just don't know. I know that first 10 million spent. I just don't know where the second allotment. I'm not sure how much of that is left.
Well, we gave them examples in at least 4 other counties where the commissioners are using ARPA funds to support a rural utility project, and that has been I think. Obviously, it was a categorical, option for them to use to support clean water projects. This is seriously a clean water project. So,
Well, it spelled it out in the guidance document, if I remember correctly. Sewer and water, broadband. I think those are the 3 main expenditures in that document.
I also have one more comment. Depending on, I haven't seen the slides from the presentation you had, but let's put that up on our website because I think that would be kind of handy if someone's looking, they might be able to find it. So I think we can pop that up on the website. That would be good.
one of the things I included in that slide deck was some dialogue about the economic development portion of this investment. And when you look at that, I did enough research on this. I actually did this a couple of years ago with the property owners, and then I dusted it off and went back to some of those websites I looked at. It's pretty amazing what a $43 million infrastructure project does with the local economy, not only temporarily but permanently, and especially in a lake community where we expect there to be a significant amount of reinvestment in real estate after the sewer is active.
Man, a lake community just off the toll road. I can look at what happened on Pine Lake. After the sewer got out on the island. It's tremendous.
Jerry, you're exactly right, and we can show example after example. My favorite one is Diamond Lake in Cass County, not too far from where you guys are at.
You know about it?
It is completely amazing the transformation that community went through. So
They did it. Pine Lake.
Yeah, building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's a feeling where at least some of the councilmen, they believe that the southern part of the county has been neglected, I feel. And the northern part of the county, maybe north of 2, seems to get preferential treatment or something. And I don't know if that's the right word, but and this is just another feather in that cap, I guess.
That's another reason why any way we can communicate that through the website, having the advocate over here, try to keep everyone in the loop is more and more that we have, and we're also thinking about having more presentations too. So, we have to always be aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, years ago, when we first started looking at Hudson-Saucony Lake, we also looked at Fish Lake.
Right.
And I don't know, Amanda, you probably have some concerns about Fish Lake that are probably even more significant than Hudson-Saucony.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. Fish Lake is not suitable for septic systems either.
Yeah, they seem to have a real impact during wet weather. High water in Fish Lake is a problem.
Yeah, I remember probably 7-8 years ago when we had -20 for about 8-9 days in a row, and it was February, And I remember going to Fish Lake about that 8th or 9th day of that -20, El Nino, whatever. And you could see semicircles around all the houses and upper fish going all around shoreline of fish over water. And it should be about, at that time, about 1.5 foot solid, deep of ice. But now it was open water and upper fish. So
there should be one thing. There's probably one thing that we need to talk about a little bit. It wouldn't be uncommon, and we have included some budget in this project to do some scattered site well testing. So Jennifer and property owners are currently identifying some sites out there, and this is all about the purpose and need for the project, where we continue to make a great case for this project to go forward. And so that is being looked at right now. The testing we will be doing is for trace elements, a battery of pharmaceuticals, and which is pretty conclusive. So Jennifer's working on that. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but we'll keep you updated. The other thing that we may want to do is I became acquainted with a gentleman that was a professor at Manchester College. He's probably one of the most prominent limnologists in the area, and he is offered to come and if we have like a public open house or other, he would be happy to come and speak relative to the surface water, and what he knows and understands about human encroachment into the environment. So he really impressed me. And so those kind of things we can also do.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I lost where we're at on the agenda here. Executive committee. Thank you, Barry. Executive committee. Yeah, we got a meeting coming up.
We didn't have one, but we will be scheduling one once we get through the ordinance and
The internal,
easements and different stuff. We'll be getting one together.
I think we
Hopefully this
circulated.
next month.
Yeah, we circulated the proposed internal control policy.
I just did to the executive committee, yeah.
And so we can do that probably via Zoom or Teams or whatever. But that would be the first reason to get together.
So we'll work on that.
Engineering committee, you got a meeting for.
Well, Dan, did we get a confirmation? Jerry, can you do Dan, what were you saying was confirmed? I haven't.
I was saying, I thought it was the 31st. I thought that's what
What
Jerry
time though? Because I couldn't get in there, but by the time I got a reply.
Jerry said May 31st is open in the afternoon. He's out of town June 2nd. So I don't know that we ever established a time.
Right. Jerry, can we do 3 o'clock? I think Ken is available then.
Yeah, 3 o'clock works for me.
Okay. Is that all right, Dan? We'll do 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it should work just
4
fine.
o'clock our time, May 31st. Let's just get it on now. Thank you. And I will send the invite. If anyone can attend, let me know and I'll find an alternate. Is that all right, Jerry?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Equipment pre-selection, I think Dan already discussed that.
Yeah, all that stuff will be discussed at the engineering meeting. Yeah.
So I guess we can move on to new business then. Next meeting, June 27th. Is that work for everybody? Mm-hmm. All right. Pre-agenda meeting, the 20th, 9 a.m. Those members should, that should work.
Yeah, I'll send out that info.
Oh, July meeting date. Yeah. I got that from the auditor. They have budget hearings the same time we have our normal meeting. So we have to reschedule that.
Well, we were supposed to be on the agenda. I've already checked everything for the year, and we've already noticed that. We were supposed to be on the agenda the entire time for the year. And then I was also, there was an email, John or someone said we could just move it up an hour. Because I have to renotice everything, and there is not another place for us to go. I've already tried that.
Yeah.
Well, I think you ought to confirm with the auditor, though. I mean, I get everything you're saying, Jennifer, but at the end of the day, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are we, so, because you sent, I got two different emails, one about moving the time and one about moving the day.
Yeah, well, I believe I have to look and see what time their budget hearings, but it's an all day thing. I think they start at 9 and they go to like 4 or 5.
Okay, so if we can't do that day, we need to try to schedule another
I mean, if you want to,
for July.
you could do it like 7 or something, just to get it in, 7:30. I don't know how long it's going to take. And,
well, yeah, the issue is you don't want to.
an hour usually.
Well, and then you're going to have people spilling in early, all the department heads, all the council. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'll just have to try to find a new date, but then we got to make sure I get it noticed in time. So I will work on it.
The 18th actually works for me.
See if that works, Jennifer.
Same time, 9 a.m.
I don't know. I gotta see if the room's even available.
To see what's open.
Jennifer, we understand that, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
We can't really plan it until I
Yeah.
see when the room's available, and then if everyone can
We can
attend.
show our flexibility. Maybe the council will give us 1.5 million.
It's the least they could do.
I think that'll work.
We should.
I think that'll work.
So Jennifer, you'll just maybe circulate an email about if there are any available. I mean, the week earlier on the same date, same time would be perfect. But I realize you can't control that. But,
Yeah, I just
You're
have to
talking
call
about
and
the
see.
13th?
I don't even have
no,
a
that would
calendar.
be the
18th. July 18th.
Oh, you're talking about July, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, July. I don't have a calendar in front of me. I just have to
Tuesday.
call and see when the room is
yeah,
available.
you're just gonna have to find a room.
Because we're
and
pretty
then-
limited.
And let everybody know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plan.
Sorry, but yeah, we have to. They're meeting. What is it? Monday, Tuesday, sometimes half day Wednesday that week. So they'll be in here. Otherwise, make a motion. I hear a motion to adjourn.
No. On the back.
Oh, it's page 2? Oh, jeez.
Page 2.
Jeez. You guys surprised me with page 2. When I see the mission statement here on the bottom, I'm like we're done. That's a mission statement. All right, moving on to old business. Laptops and portal for board meeting members. That'd be you, Jennifer.
Okay. Yeah, laptops and portal for the board meeting. There was a question last time, so Barry and I discussed that. We don't think that will be an issue going forward. There was some concerns if you use your personal computer, if that would be an issue. If anybody wanted information, if they would be subject to everything on your computer, and no, they will not be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to preface by saying I am not a litigator. I am not somebody who is constantly dealing with subpoenas and whatnot. I do municipal work and real estate transactions and business work. But back in the day, and I'm not sure how modern technology has changed, but there would have been no scenario I could ever envision where you could just request someone's hard drive and a copy of all of their emails or documents they have stored or calendar. I mean, when litigation occurs, while there is a pretty broad swath the court will allow you to ask, it'd have to be something related to the board. They might want to see emails between the board members, correspondence between the board, but for someone to say, I want everything on Mitch Bishop's laptop for 2022, I've never seen that done. So I don't know that having the portal, having a district supplied computer versus a private computer matters. I mean, it's the content, not the machinery, in my opinion, that would matter. So I don't know that having a piece of equipment that the district buys makes anything that you, well, in that instance, you shouldn't be using it, right, for anything other than district business. If you choose not to take that and put whatever the technology is on yours, that doesn't somehow open up the rest of your business life or personal life to fair game, in my opinion.
So, with that being said, you would need approximately 7 to 9 licenses, depending on, obviously I'm going to need one. And then the rest, from what I've learned, can be used as viewers. So, and they can see the documents, which we can have Steve and Barry and others view documents so they can see it. So we're looking at about 150 to 160 a month at the $17.99 per license.
And it's going to go up.
Well, that's my rate right now.
Yep.
I
So
can't.
150 a month, okay.
But we would want to pay that annually to get that rate, and that's right around 1,900.
Is it a file server? Can you go to this site and download the documents, not just view them?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Barry, I'm going to ask you, does the board have a policy for using a computer policy or something, or do we need something like that since we're now going to possibly purchase? Do we have to have a policy for something like that, or can you just look into it?
And I'm sure we don't, because it's never been discussed up until 2023. So I'm sure we don't.
I understand.
What I don't know is if, maybe Amanda and Mitch or Dahlia, somebody who deals with a municipal entity, does the county, does the city of Michigan City have anything in place about use of county or city supplied hardware? I've never heard of it before.
I'm not aware of it. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just general IT.
It's a good question, though.
But from the business side, we were looking at that years ago, so I don't know how that correlates to the government end.
I could take a look and see if anybody has anything in place.
Just see if, yeah.
Okay.
And did we get any idea on prices anymore, Jennifer, regarding those?
I mean, unless we decide for sure, it's going to be about $500 per tablet. Yeah. I mean, we're going to try to get the best, and if we can get, like a multi group of them,
Everybody.
or whatever. I just need to know what you want or how many to get, basically. Because some mentioned using their own, and that's the first question I wanted to get was answered if that was going to be an issue. So.
Well, after I'm hearing this, I want one now.
Yeah.
I already started a kind of a trial period with the Boardable for another district, just looking at it and using it. So basically, I just need to know when or if you want to do it, and we will get it going. And then I will send out emails to everyone so that they can start looking at it and get kind of a practice with it. But again, I need to, I would have to, if we decide everyone's going to get computers, then I would need to get those and get those set up. So
I would think if the board wants to pursue it, Jennifer, the next step would be to actually get a written proposal that you'd circulate to the board, and they could then, here's the cost per user, here's
we can do that.
what
I
each
just
tablet
needed to know
costs.
if you guys want to do that, because I know there was questions regarding.
I'd say price it at Boardables annual, and then price it at each one of us getting a Surface Pro or whatever it is.
Okay.
The smaller, give us an idea of what each, for every board member. And then we'll go from there.
And maybe like 2 different examples.
Yeah.
Like a Dell and
Yeah, I think there's some
what's
real
this one?
affordable.
HP Chromebook. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
a rate ordinance. I've given Barry examples, and Barry and I and Steve Cardo will be working on that as well going forward.
I think in terms of priority, we need to get the internal control policy approved by the board. Then probably easements, I'll look at those next because those kind of have some timing issues. And then the rate ordinance, not that we're going to push it off, but I mean, in terms of triage, I think we need to get internal control policy, easements, then rate ordinance.
We were talking about a kind of a global rate ordinance, is that right? To cover
Correct.
the whole.
Yeah, whether we incorporate the toll road, I guess, is another matter because that's,
Toll road has its separate.
that's kind of a whole
separate.
different,
Yeah.
it's kind of a flat fee.
Customer.
Yeah. But everything else, yes.
And can we turn the toll roads water off if they don't pay their bill?
I haven't looked at their user agreement in a while.
It's kind of surprising.
Which another call was made this morning, an email information last week, and that had not been sold. So I was wrong on that part of it. I guess I got confused there. But this person that they spoke with didn't realize that it had not been paid. And the balance right now is $82,255.65. So we're in.
Yeah, that's
Another phone call was
more than
made.
2 months.
Substantial.
Yeah, another phone call was made this morning, and
Yeah. Is there a late fee in there?
yeah,
So, yeah, I think
absolutely, there's a late fee.
3 months.
So what is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the third month, and that's with late fees.
Yeah,
Because they're, huge. Yeah, this is the third month, so it's been made to their attention, and we've been, contacting them regarding this. They said must be an issue with their AP. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll keep on it. I had her call this morning, and she just messaged me back that she got the voicemail and left a message. So
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, that brings us to Horizon Bank investments.
I don't think we're going to do anything,
Here.
right? I mean, I think John's not here to speak on behalf of it either, and I'd really like him to be here to speak on behalf of that. But I think we're just going to set it on
Okay.
hold for till the next meeting.
Well,
That's
I
okay.
didn't think of nothing. All right, that brings us to adjournment then.
Steve, did you have anything regarding that, or you?
No, I don't think we had any clear direction. The last email exchange we had, we were all kind of like just weighing out options, and I don't think any decision had been
Okay.
made. So
do you want it left down there for next meeting then?
Yeah, just put it on there.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Internal control policy we already covered.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right, motion adjourned.
Did we read the mission statement yet?
I saw a mission statement. I thought we were done.
Thanks a lot.